Hello, welcome to Cypress class, one of two Year 6 classes at Dunkirk Primary School. My name's Mr. Hall, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about our class. Your child will either be joining our class or is already in our class, so hopefully this will give you a bit of an insight into what it's like to be a member of Cypress class. So, the team working with your child in Year 6, they are myself, Mr. Hall, Mrs. Lodge, who teaches maths booster groups, Mr. Goff, who teaches maths and English booster groups, Mrs. Parry and Mr. Parry. Mr. Parry is our deputy head teacher, but works a lot with the Year 6s. And Mrs. Parry, she teaches English booster groups with a speciality in reading. Ms. Stray and Mr. Cook are our partner teachers in Larch class, the other Year 6 class. And together, we will make sure your child has a wonderful and successful time in Year 6. Your child's learning environment, that is our classroom. Let's have a look at where your child will be learning. Here are examples of some of our displays. We always use our working walls so that the children are working conducively and in coordination with the teacher to showcase their work and to help them work at a higher level. We then show their writing off on our writing display. In our classroom, we have an emojis display, which helps broaden the children's vocabulary. Each of the slips behind each emoji gives them a synonym for that emotion and feeling. We also have our theme for this first term, for the autumn term of 2022 into 2023. This term, we are looking at the Victorians and the life on the breadline, looking at the poverty that a lot of Victorians struggled with and how that poverty is something we still see in today's society. We will, as our ACT curriculum states, work towards creating some kind of action project that has a good and beneficial purpose to the locality. In this case, we are working towards putting together our own great exhibition, which will take place nearer Christmas. We've got a big focus on reading across the school in general, but particularly in Year 6. So we are doing our best to make our reading spaces attractive and encouraging and inclusive, so that we've got a wide range of very in-depth and very beautifully written texts for the children to immerse themselves in. And as you can see, we try our best to make those attractive spaces so that the children want to approach, want to go and investigate, want to choose a book and settle down to do some reading. This is a view of our classroom as a whole. So you can see we have our desks spaced out with plenty of space for all the children, but the availability for them to work in groups as well, with a clear screen at the front and a whiteboard that we work on next to it. An example of our timetable, this is the Cypress class timetable. We always start with English, have a break, then go into maths. You can see the school day starts promptly at 20 to 9, with lessons beginning at 5 past. In that registration time, we always do a morning starter, so that isn't wasted time. We are doing music lessons at the moment in that period of time, where we're learning about different functions and features of music. We then have a break and go into mathematics straight after break. We then have our lunch. There is then some free reading time before we go into Big Read and our grammar sessions. And then in the afternoons, we have the rest of our wider curriculum subjects, with home time at 3:15. Dismissal from Year 6 is by the underpass at the back of the school. In maths, we are working through the Power Maths books. It is a process that we've worked through for a few years now to great success. We always start with a discover, which is where the maths for that lesson is put into a wider context and put into a real life context, so the children can see how these skills can be applied in the real world. We then share how we go about answering those questions before moving on to thinking together, which is where the children will then begin to answer questions on their own, building towards that independent work in their books. Learning at home for maths, we still go through the active learn, that allows us access to a range of different practice for the children at home. Times Table Rockstars is as popular as ever, so the children can go head to head to try and beat one another. In Year 6 specifically, after Christmas, we will be starting in maths.co.uk, which allows the children that ability to practice in actual SATs style questions under time pressure, so that they're used to that well in advance of sitting down for their SATs after the May half term. Login details either have already been provided or will be to your child, depending on when they started with us. Our English sequence is the same as it has been for a good few years. We follow through the sequence you can see on your screen, from cold write as phase 1 through to an application write. Cold write is where the children get the opportunity to show what they have remembered from previous units. Model text is where they get to see a variety of high quality texts of that genre. We then read around that genre and look at other examples, pick apart what makes those examples good examples, or on occasion what makes them bad examples of that genre. We then focus in on the grammar required to do that genre to the best of our potential. We then practice those skills before planning and writing our own hot write pieces. We then assess, edit and improve those pieces of work before presenting them in a final written up format. The application write will then take place in another subject. So for example, if we have studied non-chronological reports, we might then do a non-chronological report in science. In terms of English learning at home, we're still using Boom Reading for our online diary. That's new this year. At the moment, we've not got it set up as I record this video, but by Christmas, we will have moved to that. For now, we are reading and filling in our reading diaries in the paper copies as we have for some time. Your child will be provided with a reading level appropriate book to bring home and change when they have finished that. And as we have for the last few years, spellings will be provided on Spelling Shed. Logins for that will be provided to your child if they haven't been already. In theme, that covers our geography and our history, DT and art. This year, or this term, should I say, up to Christmas, we are looking at Victorians' life on the breadline, all about the Victorians, as you saw with the display. Your children have this knowledge organizer stuck into the fronts of their books. It is 2 pages. The first page is there for you to see. It contains a timeline putting the Victorians in context with other historical periods that the children have studied at Dunkirk, as well as then giving a more in-depth breakdown of the Victorian timeline itself, with some pictures with captions according to what the picture is underneath. On the second page, we go into some key words your children will need to know during their study of the Victorians, a map showing the empire under the Victorian period and how that's changed. We'll talk a lot about the difference between empire and commonwealth, why those things have changed. We'll talk about the positives and the negatives of having empire, what that led to, and all the reasons why perhaps it could be seen now with hindsight and with a better understanding as quite a negative thing, but what it did lead to in the positives as well. We are studying some key figures and the children will need to know the 3 pictured there: Thomas Bernardo, Queen Victoria and Isambard, King of Brunel, amongst others. We then have the key facts that the children will need to know for their topic, and you can see those in the bottom right. Overall, the general expectations are the same as they will have been if your child's been with us for some time, but if you are new to the school, we use a system called Track It Lights to monitor behaviour. That is both positive and negatives. Positive behaviour will be rewarded with green trackets, which add up points, which will then be rewarded towards the end of each term. Negative behaviour will result in yellow, amber and red, my apologies, which can be time off break times, full missed breaks, or in extreme circumstances being sent to senior leadership to miss out on lessons, or sent home if behaviour is that severe. Weekly, we do our Pride Awards, and that then translates to our termly Pride Ambassadors, which will be decided based around their behaviour. In year 6 especially, attendance is crucial. It's crucial throughout the school, but in year 6 we do only have 2/3 of the year to cover our entire curriculum before SATs. So as I've said there, every second of every day really does count. So please make sure that your child is attending every day. Timekeeping, as I've said on the timetable slide, lessons start straight away. So it's important that children are here from the beginning of the day. And then for Cypress class, our PE days are Monday and Wednesday. So if you can make sure children then come in suitable clothing for PE, black trainers, black tracksuit bottoms, etc., should be absolutely fine. And finally, communication between school and parents. We do all of our communication primarily through Class Dojo. If you need to contact the teacher, you can do so via Class Dojo, but if it's anything urgent, please call the office, as we don't check Class Dojo daily. We will check Class Dojo twice, maybe 3 times a week, and we will reply to you on there, but if it needs to be quicker than that, then you do need to call the school office. Information from the school, homework, upcoming events, and any updates regarding lessons and learning will all go out on Class Dojo. So please do make sure that you have got that app downloaded. If you need any more help with that, do contact the school or the teacher, and we'll do everything we can to help you. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and I look forward to working with your child. I'm sure they will settle in incredibly well if they haven't already. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I've been Mr. Hall. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Thank you very much. Bye.